One of the problems that designers face is how to transmit motion and force from one part of a design to another. One solution is to use a toothed wheel that engages with something else with similar teeth. That something else may be another toothed wheel called a spur gear, a shaft with a helical tooth on it called a worm gear, or a shape, for instance a flat shape with teeth on it called a rack. A gear wheel is always placed on a shaft. To prevent the gear wheel from slipping on the shaft, a rectangular section steel bar called a key is placed into the slots called keyways in the gear wheel and shaft. When the shaft is rotated, the key forces the gear to rotate with it. When the gear is rotated, the key forces the shaft to rotate with it. The key prevents rotary slippage and transmits motion and force between the gear wheel and shaft. Meshed gears are interlocked so there can be no slippage between the driver and driven gears. Because slippage is not possible, gears are said to have a positive drive. The gear wheel that is powered by something like an electric motor is called the driver gear, and all others that are driven by it are called driven gears. The animation shows how a plain V-belt on a belt and pulley system can slip if it is not tight on the pulleys. The belt and pulley system does not have a positive drive if it allows slippage. However, there are tooth belts and tooth pulleys. Tooth belt and pulley systems give a positive drive because they do not allow slippage. A gear wheel is also called a spur gear because the shape of the gear looks similar to the spurs worn by horse riders in times past. In order to transmit motion and force from one gear to another, gears are positioned so that they interlock or mesh. You will notice that when two spur gears are meshed, they rotate in opposite directions. When two gear wheels of different sizes are meshed, the larger gear is called the wheel and the smaller gear is called the pinion. In this example, the wheel has 12 teeth and the pinion has 8 teeth. You will notice that the pinion rotates 1.5 times for every revolution of the wheel. 3 or more spur gears positioned so that they mesh are called a gear train. A simple gear train has only one gear wheel on each gear shaft. The middle gear in a simple gear train is called the idler gear. The idler gear does not affect the velocity of the driven gear, it just changes its direction of rotation. A compound gear train has more than one gear on at least one gear shaft. The animation shows a driven gear and a driver gear on shaft B. As both gears are keyed onto shaft B, the shaft and the two gears on it rotate at the same velocity. As there is a driven gear and a driver gear on shaft B, the gears on shaft B are not idler gears. It is true that the middle gear in a simple gear train is both the driven gear and a driver gear, but because it does not change the gear ratio between the first and last gear, it is called an idler or idler gear. We know that gears can give a non-slip positive drive and transmit motion and force from one gear shaft to another, but gears can also increase or reduce the rotary speed of the driven gear and shaft and increase or reduce the rotational force of the driven gear and shaft. This rotational or rotary force is called torque. The size of the driver gear compared to the size of the driven gear is called the gear ratio. As the size of the driver gear compared to the size of the driven gear determines how fast the driven gear will rotate, this ratio is also called the velocity ratio. When we work out the gear ratio of meshed gears and the velocity ratio of the same meshed gears, we find that the ratios are the same. So gear ratio is equal to the velocity ratio. So one way of working out the gear ratio of two gears is to work out how far each gear travels in one complete revolution. The distance a gear travels in one complete revolution is the same as the circumference of the pitch circle. The pitch circle is an imaginary circle on gears used to calculate gear sizes. The pitch circles of mesh gears touch, and it is through this point that motion and force is transmitted from the driver gear to the driven gear. The circumference of the pitch circle can be calculated by using the formula C equals pi d, where C is the circumference and d is the diameter of the pitch circle. I'll describe how to work out the pitch circle diameter later, but for now we'll look at an easier method of calculating the gear ratio of two gears. A much easier method of calculating gear ratio is by counting the number of teeth on each meshed gear and using the formula gear ratio equals number of teeth on the driven gear divided by the number of teeth on the driver gear. In this example, the driven gear has 24 teeth and the driver gear has 8 teeth, so the gear ratio is 24/8, which is the same as 3/1, and as a ratio it is written as 3:1. A gear is fixed onto its gear shaft by a key, so the gear and the gear shaft must rotate at the same speed or velocity. So if two gears have a velocity ratio of 3:1, then their gear shafts also have a velocity ratio of 3:1. When the velocity ratio is known, and the velocity of the input or driver gear is known, then we can work out the velocity of the output or driven gear. We use the formula gear ratio equals distance moved by the effort, which is the same as RPM of the driver shaft, divided by the distance moved by the load, which is the same as the RPM of the driven shaft. When we work it out, we get 1/3, which is the same as 3/1, which is a gear ratio of 3:1. So if an electric motor drives a driver gear at 600 RPM, which is revs per minute, and we know that the velocity ratio is 3:1, we can work out the velocity of the driven gear by dividing the driver shaft velocity of 600 RPM by 3, which gives us a driven shaft velocity of 200 RPM. Mechanical advantage, which is often abbreviated to MA, is the advantage or benefit that we get from using a mechanism. The advantage may be an increase in speed or an increase in rotary force, that is torque. You can see from the formula that MA, gear ratio and velocity ratio give the same result. So if the gear ratio is 3:1 and the velocity ratio is 3:1, then the mechanical advantage is also 3:1. That is, what you get out is 3 times greater than what you put in. But remember, mechanical advantage may be an increase in speed or an increase in torque. It can't be both. Gear ratio, velocity ratio and mechanical advantage are not the same thing, even though the output ratios are the same. Gear ratio is the number of teeth of the driver gear compared to the driven gear. Velocity ratio is the speed of the driven gear compared to the speed of the driver gear. And mechanical advantage is the increase in speed or force of the output gained by using gears. As I mentioned before, a compound gear train has more than one gear on at least one gear shaft. The animation shows how the driven shaft C is rotating 9 times slower than the driver on shaft A. The velocity ratio of shaft A and B is 3:1, and the velocity ratio of shaft B and C is 3:1. So the velocity ratio of shaft A and C is 9:1. That is, shaft A is rotating 9 times faster than shaft C. So, the velocity of shaft C is 9 times slower than shaft A. But what about the output force, or torque? Imagine that the input rotary force on shaft A is 100 Newton meters. Mechanical advantage is the same as the gear ratio and velocity ratio, which is 9/1. So using the formula, mechanical advantage of 9 equals torque of the output gear divided by the torque of the input gear. Torque of the input gear is 100 Newton meters. Torque of the output gear divided by 100 Newton meters is 9, so the torque of the output gear is 900 Newton meters. So we can see that the output speed or velocity of shaft C is 9 times slower than shaft A, but its rotary force or torque is 9 times greater. Bevel gears transmit motion and force through an angle. Bevel gears are used in many mechanisms, including vehicle power transmission systems and hand drills. A worm gear consists of a shaft with a deep helical screw thread on it. A spur gear meshes with the worm gear, and as the worm gear rotates, it transmits motion and force to the spur gear and through to the gear shaft. For the pinion to mesh with the worm gear, It must also have helical teeth that match the helical screw on the worm gear. The worm gear is the driver gear. It transmits motion and force as it rotates. The pinion cannot rotate and move the worm gear teeth. For this reason, it is a good mechanism for use in products like fishing reels and tennis net cord tensioners. A rack has teeth set in a straight line. When the pinion gear is rotated in a fixed position, the rack is made to move. Motor vehicle steering systems often utilize a rack and pinion mechanism to direct the vehicle's wheels. When the rack is fixed and the pinion is made to rotate, the pinion moves over the rack. The photograph illustrates how the rack is fixed to the roller coaster frame structure. The pinion is attached to the roller coaster car. Gears are made with teeth of various standard sizes. Some gears have just a few teeth, other gears have lots of teeth. It is clear that in order for two gears to mesh, their gear teeth must be the same size. In order for one gear to mesh with another, both gears must have exactly the same size teeth. In order to make this possible, gear teeth sizes are organized into modules. Module 1, Module 2, Module 3, etc. The pitch of gear teeth can be found by multiplying the module number by pi, that is 3.1416. So the pitch of a gear with module 1 teeth is 3.1416 times 1, which is 3.1416 millimeters. The pitch of a gear with module 2 teeth is 3.1416 times 2, which is 6.2832 millimeters, and so on. Gear tooth thickness is half the pitch. The space between gear teeth on the pitch circle is equal to the thickness of the gear teeth on the pitch circle. So gear tooth thickness is equal to half the pitch, and the space between the teeth on the pitch circle line is also equal to half the pitch. It is important that gear tooth thickness is equal to the space between gear teeth so that gears with the same module number can mesh. The circumference of the pitch circle for any gear can be worked out by multiplying the number of teeth on the gear by the size of the pitch. So if a gear has 24 M2 teeth, and the pitch for M2 teeth is 6.2832 millimeters, then we just have to multiply the pitch, that is 6.2832 millimeters, by 24. This works out to be a circumference of 150.7968 millimeters. To work out the diameter of the pitch circle, we use the formula C equals pi d. The diameter equals the circumference divided by pi. So that's 150.7968 millimeters divided by pi, which is 3.1416, which works out as 48. That means that the gear has a pitch circle diameter of 48 millimeters. A much easier method is to use the formula pitch circle diameter, that is PCD, equals the number of teeth times the module number. So the PCD equals 24 teeth times the module number of 2, that is PCD equals 24 times 2 equals 48. That is the same figure that we worked out by finding the circumference and then dividing by pi. So, I've shown you how gears transmit motion and force, how they can be used to create a mechanical advantage, how the size and pitch of gear teeth are related to the gear module number, and how the diameter of any gear can be worked out from the number of gear teeth and the module number. Finally, I'd like to thank you for watching, and I hope that you found this video helpful.